In the world of boxing, there is one rule that never changes. Respect the ones who came before you.
Manny Pacquiao porque ya anda hablando mucho.
We're gonna have to beat him. Freddie Roach is scared right now. But Freddie Roach is scared that we're gonna beat Manny Pacquiao.
Así va a quedar, mira. Así va a quedar llorando.
Your manager told me you're gonna knock out Pacquiao with the uppercut.
This sport has a way of reminding you very quickly that you are not as special as you think you are. You can talk all you want. You can post all the videos you want. You can tell the whole world that you are going to destroy Manny Pacquiao. But when that bell rings, the truth comes out. These two men, Keith Thurman and Adrien Broner, they didn't just think they could beat Manny Pacquiao. They thought he was finished. They thought he was old. They thought he was easy. And tonight, we are going to watch them pay the price. 2019, Manny Pacquiao was 40 years old. The media was already writing the ending for him. Reporters were asking, is it time to retire? Is he too slow now? Has the fire gone out? People were saying his legs were gone. They were saying his reflexes had slowed. They were saying the best days were behind him. And honestly, a lot of fans believed it too, even people who loved Pacquiao. People who had been cheering for him his whole career were quietly wondering if maybe it was time to hang up the gloves. Nobody wanted to say it out loud. A man who started with nothing, a kid from General Santos City in the Philippines who used to fight on empty stomachs just to survive. The man who turned pain into power and poverty into greatness. Think about that. He didn't just have to fight in the ring. He had to fight every single day just to eat, just to stay alive, just to give his family a chance at something better. That kind of hunger never goes away. It just gets stronger. You don't disrespect a man like that. You don't mock a legacy like that. But Broner did, and we were about to see the consequences. And yet, two men decided that this was the perfect time to disrespect him. First, Adrien Broner. Now let's talk about Adrien Broner. 4-division world champion. Talented, no question. The guy could box. He had fast hands, good movement, real power. At his best, Broner was genuinely dangerous. He had the kind of natural talent that not many fighters are born with. He was the kind of fighter who made other fighters nervous just by walking into the room. Early in his career, people compared him to Floyd Mayweather. They said he had that same slick defensive style, that same sharp counter-punching ability. That is not a small compliment. Broner started to believe his own hype a little too much. He went on camera and said things like, "I'm the best. I'm going to show the world that Pacquiao is done." He called himself the problem because when you walk into a fight against Manny Pacquiao, one of the greatest fighters in the history of the sport, with that kind of energy, you are not ready. You are delusional. At the press conference, Broner was joking around, laughing out, acting like this was already over. He was performing. He was putting on a show. He thought the cameras were his stage. Pacquiao, he just sat there, quiet, calm, like a man who already knew what was going to happen. No games, no theatrics, just focus. Two men in the same room, one trying to put on a show, one preparing for war. You already know which one had their mind right. There are levels to this game, and Broner was about to find out what that really means. January 19th, 2019, MGM Grand Garden Arena, Las Vegas. 60,000 eyes watching, the whole boxing world waiting. The energy in that arena was insane. Nobody knew exactly what to expect. Some people thought Broner might actually pull it off, but those people had clearly not been paying attention. And from round one, it was clear. Pacquiao had come to make a statement. No feeling out process, no cautious start. He came out sharp, aggressive, and focused from the very first second. He wasn't rushing. He wasn't panicking. He was calm, almost relaxed. He was toying with Broner, moving left, moving right, throwing punches from angles that Broner couldn't even see coming. And Broner started to look confused. The guy who was laughing at press conferences, that energy was gone. You could see it happening in real time. Round by round, the confidence was being drained right out of him. By the middle rounds, Broner wasn't the problem anymore. He was just a man trying to survive. Pacquiao landed over 190 punches that night. Broner landed less than half that number. Think about that for a second. Broner, the man who said he was going to dominate, couldn't even land enough punches to make it competitive. Round after round, same story. Pacquiao coming forward. Pacquiao throwing hands. Broner holding, grabbing, running. At one point, Broner tried to trash talk during the fight. Right in the middle of the round, he started talking. Pacquiao's response? He threw another combination and walked away. That is not just skill. That is a message. This was not the Broner from the press conference. This was a humbled man. The crowd started to turn on him. You could hear it. The boos getting louder every time he held. every time he clinched, every time he ran instead of fighting. This is what happens when your mouth writes a check your skills can't cash. The final decision? Unanimous. Pacquiao wins. All 3 judges agreed. It wasn't even close. And after the fight, the most interesting thing happened. No excuses, no crying about the judges, no blaming his corner or saying he was injured. Broner was quiet. No jokes, no laughing. He gave Pacquiao his respect, said more than all his interviews combined. Because sometimes the loudest thing in the room is not the person talking the most, because 6 months later, someone else stepped up. Keith Thurman, undefeated, WBA welterweight champion. On paper, this was his moment. He was younger, he was fresh, and he had never tasted defeat in his professional career. And if Broner was cocky, Thurman was on another level. This man went on interview after interview saying things like, "Pacquiao is old, his time is up. I'm the future of this sport."
You know, I believe after I hit him and, the fight's over, he's gonna go backstage and God will have that conversation.
He called himself one time, like one punch from him was all it would take. He talked about how Pacquiao had lost his speed, lost his power, lost his edge.
This is a big fight as far as the stage goes, but, Pacquiao's a little fighter, so it's a big fight against a little guy, it's a little different, the reach, and he's a veteran. I've dismantled veterans in the past. I've dismantled veterans throughout my whole career. I believe I would have destroyed Manny Pacquiao 5 years ago when he was with Top Ranks.
He said Pacquiao was living off his reputation, that the name was bigger than the fighter now. He talked like a man who had already won the fight before it even started. And here's the thing, unlike Broner, Thurman actually had a real case to make. This was not just empty talking. Thurman was a serious fighter. He was technically gifted. He had power in both hands. He was smart inside the ring. If he had just come in focused and humble, this could have been a very different night. But instead, he crossed the line. But here's the thing most people don't realize. Thurman was undefeated, 29-0, and that number can mess with your head. When you've never lost, you start to believe you never can. That's not confidence. That's a trap, because losing is part of this sport. Every great champion has faced defeat at some point. It teaches you things that winning never can. Thurman had never been in that dark place. He had never had to come back from a loss. He had never had to rebuild. Pacquiao had many times, and that experience, that battle-tested wisdom, was about to make all the difference. And Pacquiao, he heard everything, every word, every interview, every insult. He just smiled. The kind of smile that says, "Keep talking. I'll show you on fight night."
We talk about maybe crossing that line. How do you respond to that?
Well, I keep my mouth shut and let him talk. Let my fist talk in the ring.
And that is exactly what he did. July 20th, 2019, same arena, different story. At 40 years old, Manny Pacquiao stepped into the ring against a younger, undefeated champion. Everyone said Pacquiao was the underdog. Everyone said Thurman was too young, too fresh, too hungry. The whole world was watching to see if the old man could still do it. Reporters had their retirement articles ready. Fans were debating whether this was the end. Even some of Pacquiao's own supporters were nervous. Nobody, and I mean nobody, was fully ready for what happened next. The commentators were calling Thurman the favorite. The bookmakers had him as the favorite. Almost everyone in that building expected Thurman to control the fight. And in round 1, something happened that nobody expected. Pacquiao threw a left hand, clean, perfect, and Keith Thurman, the undefeated champion, went down. The crowd exploded.
From Manny Pacquiao. Oh, down goes Thurman! And let me tell you, that was just a quick punch.
The man who said Pacquiao was too old was looking up at the lights in round 1. Just sit with that for a moment. The guy who spent months saying Pacquiao was finished was the first one to hit the canvas. The arena went absolutely crazy. People were jumping out of their seats. You could feel the energy shift in that moment. This was not supposed to happen. This was not part of anyone's script, except Pacquiao's. Now to his credit, Thurman got up. He survived the round. He fought back hard. This wasn't a one-sided beatdown. Thurman landed his shots. He made it competitive. But here's the difference between Keith Thurman and Manny Pacquiao in that fight. Thurman was fighting to survive. Pacquiao was fighting to prove a point. Round after round, Pacquiao kept coming, didn't slow down, didn't get tired. At 40 years old, He was throwing punches like a man 10 years younger. Thurman was getting hit from everywhere. Left hands, right hands, body shots, hooks. The guy who said Pacquiao was finished was the one who looked finished. Every time Pacquiao landed, you could see it in Thurman's eyes. The doubt was creeping in. The confidence was draining. The man who walked in feeling invincible was slowly realizing he had made a mistake. By the championship rounds, Thurman was holding on every chance he got. He was tired. He was hurt. He was hurt. He was humbled. The same man who looked so relaxed and so sure at the press conference was now just trying to make it to the final bell. The final bell rang. Split decision. Pacquiao win. And 29-0, gone. Just like that. Let me say that again slowly. 29-0. Every single win, every stoppage, every decision, it all built up to this one night. And in one split decision, against a 40-year-old man that everyone counted out, the whole thing came crashing down. Thurman's undefeated record, the thing he was so proud of, the thing that made him feel invincible, ended at the hands of the man he called old. After the fight, Thurman sat in his corner for a long time, just sitting there, processing it. You could see on his face the exact moment it hit him, that this sport does not care about your age. It does not care about your record. It does not care about your trash talk. It only cares about who did the work. And that night, there was no question who that was.
Thought maybe he stomped on your foot or stepped on your foot. Did that happen?
You know, I wasn't sure. I felt like my feet was either square, something happened, you know, I knew I was okay. Normally I feel like I would have took the punch and would have been up, but my balance just wasn't there. He caught me at the right moment and down I went.
You know, we saw your nose pouring with blood. Was breathing ever an issue for you?
Breathing wasn't an issue. There was blood everywhere. It was leaking like a water faucet, but I've experienced that many times throughout my boxing career. So I just stayed focused and just tried to put myself back in the fight.
At any point, did he have you really hurt? Because we did see you kind of giving body language, leaning over a little bit.
The body shot was a terrific body shot. I even took my mouthpiece out of my mouth just so that I can breathe a little deeper. You know, we stayed on our feet. We kept fighting. It was very unexpected once again. You know, that's why my name is One Time. You know, it's always those one punches in a round that really can change the pace of a round. One time isn't just something I do. One time is something that could happen to me. I got hit a few more times than one time, maybe about 2 good shots in this fight. I tried to retaliate, but Manny held his composure. I know that I got his respect in the ring, but he held his composure well. He held his hands up well, and he's just a more relaxed fighter. With all the experience that he's had.
So what do we learn from all of this? 2 champions, 2 talkers, both promised to end Manny Pacquiao's career, and both walked out of that ring with the same lesson. Greatness doesn't care about your words. It doesn't care about your social media. It doesn't care about your press conference. It doesn't care about your undefeated record. Greatness is built in silence. It is built in gyms at 5 in the morning when nobody is watching. It is built through years of sacrifice that most people will never understand. While Broner was making videos, Pacquiao was training. While Thurman was doing interviews, Pacquiao was studying. While both of them were talking, Pacquiao was preparing. That is the difference between a fighter and a champion. A fighter talks about what they are going to do. A champion just goes out and does it. Manny Pacquiao came from nothing. He grew up with nothing. He fought his way out of poverty, out of the streets of the Philippines, and into the history books. 8. Division, world, champion. The only man in boxing to ever do that. Think about what it took to get there. Think about all the early mornings, all the injuries, all the moments where it would have been easier to just stop. Think about the sacrifices his family made, the people who believed in him when nobody else did, the years of building something that no one could ever take away from him. That is not something you can fake. That is not something you can talk your way into. You either did the work or you didn't. And at 40 years old, when the whole world was ready to write him off, he reminded everyone that legends don't just fade away, they answer. Not with words, not with interviews, not with social media posts, with their fists, with their heart, with everything they have worked for their entire life. Broner crossed the line, Thurman crossed the line, and Manny Pacquiao made sure they both paid the price. This only shows there are levels to this game. You cannot shortcut your way to the top. You cannot talk your way into greatness. You cannot disrespect a legend and expect to walk away looking good, because legends remember and they respond. Every insult, every dismissal, every time someone said his best days were over, Pacquiao filed all of it away, and when the moment came, He used every single word of it as fuel, and some people, they have to get humbled before they understand that. If you enjoyed this story, drop a like, hit subscribe, and let me know in the comments below which fighter was more delusional, Broner or Thurman.